You ain't going nowhere. Anyway, the point is, okay, y'all. Time in relationships. Okay, music, time in relationships. That's because we have food, shelter, clothing, water, transportation, education, communication to get those things, which affect music, time, and relationships. Okay, which and our identity and our animals. Okay, so for the Better Man Workshop crew, in my group page, yes, I'm gonna be talking about my group pages from now on. Better Man Workshop is necessarily about the qualities that you're supposed to have if you're trying to be with someone. I see myself as the prize, okay, for this reason, because I need to work on myself as well. Now, other than that, girls in multifaceted relationships, it don't get no easier because over time, time is wasting. But what we need to talk about is what we need to understand about Better Man Workshop. So Better Man Workshop is all about trying to find a combination guy, okay? And that's, yes, it is about finding a combination guy, because he has to have the qualities that I'm specifically think is mine. He has to be bolder than me, but he needs to be my type. Okay, God sends it, he be right on time, but sometimes you just got to make sure that's what it is. And so, you got to think about those things. You got to be like, you got to think about what you want in life. You can't just be wasting people's time, because bills and stuff count up. And you already kind of in a relationship, which I am kind of already, but that doesn't make, they're all winners, that doesn't mean that it actually works out for me. It just means what you can work with, okay? Me and God, we got in a little argument about that. These men want to be in relationships and want to waste people's time while you keep sending him over to me, God. Or asking people to take care of him and whatnot, sending him over, because God can be sending messages too, okay? From the guy. Like God sends messages to the man to keep bringing him over here. I keep asking God to bring people that I need for my life who are nice to me. But it takes faith, okay? Because not everything, he's still working on himself. Either way, you gotta form a relationship with somebody, because you can't be wasting your parents' time, okay? That's just not fair, okay? So how do you get to that is what I'm saying. So you need to realize something, that going down the timeline, the lifespan of the years, you could be working on a lot of things. You could be working on your rootology, find the root to the problem. So rootology is one way of a person who finds the root of the problems in their life. Number 2, the root of the problem would be anything difficult you have faced in the past. Number 3, the root is the fear of something you might do if you never had done it. Number 4, the root of the problem will exist if you make it a terrible situation. So you have to pay attention to each one of the 5 short stories of young women self-care guides to transition from childhood to adulthood. So I got like a little self-care guide, yeah. And that's in this book. And I was talking about pairing it to the problems that you would seek in this. This is a folder. If you make you a self-care guide, or if you want to read my self-care guide, I'm gonna put it on document, and so people can read it, okay? But it's a checklist, okay? You gotta check your list. It's the fundamentals of attachment. I'm not saying you gotta read mine, because mine's personal, okay? It's just facts that I studied from Find the Root of the Problem. Find the root of the problem and make a self-care guide for yourself. Transition from child to adulthood. Title it A Young Woman's Self-Care Guide to Transition from Child to Adulthood, okay? Or just or it's just your own self-care guide to transition from child to adulthood. Make that, and then pair it with 10 each of the 5. So you got to pair 10. Let them tell each story situation shortly, okay? So that's the first 5. So the root of the problem will exist if you make it a terrible situation. That's 4. The root of the problem can be terrifying if you feel you have no chance of accomplishing tasks you feel you must do. So in total, I'm not going to read all the rootology things, but in total, there are 50 rootology. There are 50 of these, okay? It's 50, yeah. It's 50. And there are 10 more. Well, no, there's 10 meanings that go with the 50. So it's like each one of those, it's like all taken care of, like 10. But it's all within, like the other one. Okay? So that's what I need y'all to do. I need you to make a self-care guide and pair it with your story. And then, then put 50 of these things of your rootology. Think of, I need you to think of rootology things. I'm just giving you my first 5. Okay, think of something about the meaning of rootology is to find the root of the problem that is within the problem. Okay, it's just find the root of the problem. It's rootology. It's just rootology. I'm a rootologist. Okay, I found this from looking at this canister, and I'm gonna talk about it because it's about breathing free. But it's a good meaning behind it because that's their brand. They're all about finding the roots of the problem. But I went beyond that, you see. So thank you to the creators of rootology who talked about it, but they didn't really necessarily talk about it. They just gave me an idea, So like find the root of the problem. It's rootology, and they put roots in their food. So think of it like big time. Like this is God speaking to you. Okay, so I need you to make a transition to childhood guide for yourself of your stories, and I need you to do some researching. I need you to soul search. I need you to get deep. I need you to get so deep within who that your background, what makes you you, and put rootology in. That's the get deep meaning. Get to the roots. Get to the gut. Get in God. Okay, I need you to get deep in that. Okay. So yeah, find 50 things that you need to do, and then pair of make 50 fundamentals of rootology. I have 50 fundamentals. I could share that with you, but I'm not sharing my self-care guide. I can share that with you, right? Okay. So I got that hands down. I already shared the first 5, and the next 6 is like going outside or things that you love to do. Think of 50 things that makes you you, but use these first 5 things about the root of the problem. The root of the problem is not hard to find. You might not have a problem. That's number 8. Okay, and you got to think about paying attention to the signs of resistance. And 17, the root of the problem is anything that is asked to bother your mind. That is something factual. Or 24, roots grow, okay, into something you turn it into, whether good or bad. That's number 24. Or anything like reality is the roots, be it that of a problem. Always have a new reason to leave something in trust. Okay, because that's 35. Okay, because that's what it is. And I'm saying that like you don't know that is, but I mean, like, you can't take God out of the picture, okay? Because he was the authorizer who made it right. Like, he made us, like, into a plant, okay? So that's what I need you to do right now. I need you to do that right now, okay? If you do that now, you will get where you need to be, okay? So, yes, here's the instructions to this thing. And it's like making a girly sanctuary. I am so serious. I had to tell even a lady who knew about this, and she had, like, a bookstore and everything. She was making... Her name was Miss Maria Lopez, but she made a girly sanctuary. She made her own sanctuary, And I say make a sanctuary. I had another group page called the Map of Sisterhood, but I don't do that no more, okay? That's gone. But it formed into something else. It broadened its span. Sometimes group pages do that, and that's why I have what I have. They're just workstations so people can kind of get an idea of what it is. And yes, I've been doing this. I've been doing group pages for over 4 years now. So find and pair the first 10 fundamentals to the next 10 until finish of that for each of the first 5 short stories of young women. Reevaluate the conclusion, organize it, and use this as a technique, please. So yes, you're going to have to use what I already mentioned. Make sure you had done that. For your 5 fundamentals, you can make it up yourself, but it needs to talk about the root. Well, you can think smartly about it. They already got it on the internet, so you could just look it up about what things make up rootology, what things make up finding the root of the problem. Okay, you need to think 50 things that finding the root of the problem. What are the diagramming? Because it's 50 things. Okay, it might not even be 50 things. It might just be 12. Okay, I probably listed about 12, but that don't mean that you got to do exactly like that, okay? So do that. You got to do the impossible if it looks that way. Make a sanctuary for yourself. Your room should be your sanctuary. It should be a place where you can rely on God and where you can be yourself, and let God take care of you, because there's nowhere else you can be yourself but with God. You have your personal relationship, okay? That's what you need to think about. You need to think about your personal relationship with people, because if you bring a man into your sanctuary, your temple should be clean. You got to be careful with your life. You might have, think of creative things to make your life character. Keep yourself clean. You know, keep your place clean. You know, you don't want drama. I mean, you're bringing in your whole life in your room. Like, you need to take care of that. Have a vision board. I got a vision board behind here. I be always talking about vision boards and stuff. Yes, vision boards are necessary. It started with a vision board. I had mine. I had a therapist. I had to think about my future. I had to think about all these things that make me me. And I had to get a vision board. I had to think about everything I wanted on a vision board. So yeah, that's my vision board. I had to think about that. I had to think about my future. I had to think about what I want for my life. That's mental health. That's God was speaking to my therapist because she needed to say that to me. And I went to group pages. I went to girl groups and boy groups, and I've been to Owen's Place. I've been to Pearls for Teen Girls. Yeah, they always talk about these things. I've been to schools and school programs and stuff, after school programs. I'm into that type of stuff. That's just who I am. And I always have like a little extra vision paper so I could put like little things on there. Talk about what I want in pictures and what it looks like to make it look nice. Make some cutouts in magazines. Do some drawing, you know, like make something of yourself. Do something that you love to do, you know, and put your effort in it, you know. Draw pictures of your past. Draw yourself how you know you will look. You know, just do some studies and decorum, you know, like do some research and print out stuff. You know, you can go to the library a lot. They always have people printing out stuff there. You know, these people can be your best friend. They were my best friend for years, and I was able to put it in a folder binder. I have about like 8 folder binders. Well, actually, technically, I'm 9. No, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, it's 8. I got 8 binders, but that don't mean that I just spend time doing binders. I've pretty much filled up my life with this stuff, and I've been doing that for a long time. I even won in the science program. I got my trophies in the back. You can see my trophy in the back. That's my trophy right next to the fan. But that don't mean I don't know what I'm doing. That just means that I'm trying hard. It's about love and self-love, but it's more about helping spread love to others so that you can help others in yourself. God is working this. Someone had to start off, and you have to realize that, you know, you got to schedule yourself. You got to do things that you want. I keep things organized in my room. So organized. I'm so organized that I even know what happens when I get unorganized, so I can reorganize myself again. That's just how it is. Some people just got it like that. But don't worry, someone's gonna help you out. And plus, I know how to get like other things. You know, people can do so much for you if you just take care of it and look at it the way it's supposed to be possible. Plus, you know, like I keep a binder for any kind of situation in my life, for what I talk about animals, what I learned from taking care of animals, what I learned from music time and relationships, what I learned from you know, from buildings, from working at workstations, you know, what I learned from communication, education, transportation, what I learned in legal education, what I learned in making you know, from books and stuff, from libraries, what I learned from taking care of a home, because I'm still working at home in progress. We're in progress, you know. This is where I spent my life, so I got to continue doing that. And you know what I learned from all the other stuff. My drawers don't even have a lot of clothes anymore. My drawers are filled with the things like arts and papers and stuff. That's all I have, and I only have 2 drawers that might have some clothes in it, but that's it. And my closet it doesn't have that much clothes in it either. You could tell because my closet is empty on this side, and it just has a box at the bottom that shows my little outer situation and whatnot. And today's Thursday. We're going to that part of the end of the week. It's sad. It's kind of like a line out of your life and my life, and how we all are fruitful in our life, how we bear fruit, because it bears a lot of fruit. And you know, you can see my apron in the back from my last video that I made, and it like clings to the body and has that stuff and all that. You know, these things are fabrics and stuff, but it won't make sense if you don't stay in it and bring yourself back. Learn when to go for your others, go for God, stop for yourself, I mean, go for God, slow down for others, stop for yourself. That's why we got the traffic light system. That came from the 90s, you know, in the 80s. We don't know when these things were made, but that don't mean they weren't made. You know, it was made for us. You know, somebody had to think of these things so we could have the things we need. And, you know, you should love what God has done for you, you know, all the things to get you where you are today. You know, like, it has reasoning. So you got to be thankful for those things. You can't just like say that God didn't do this or do that. It all brings out to the life that where you are right now. So you don't have to do nothing but just wake up and thank God that you woke up this morning. And that's what you got to do. All right, you guys. So I'm done with that. I'm going to drink my water and I'm going to go.